Even though I took a break from blogging during the summer, there were still some things that really pissed me off about the world. I suppose it isn't really surprising. That's why I'm here, after all. You see, one of my biggest one of my biggest pet peeves overall is people who just don't take responsibility for their actions. And I saw a lot of it during the summer. Let's start with a more down-to-earth example. This summer, the city of Hamilton, like many others, was concerned about bird flu being spread to people. Or that's what they said, at least. While walking around the neighborhood, I saw a dead bird lying on the sidewalk near some houses, and it sat there for a few days. Eventually, I had enough and called it in animal control, as everyone in town was told we should. I gave them the exact location, including the house I was straight across the street from, and they did nothing. This dead baby bird was left to rot in plain view of children and their families, carrying God only knows what in terms of diseases. And when I called again to ask about this, the woman at Animal Control claimed that the control officers couldn't find the bird. I mean, this is stupid, and I asked them point blank if they needed me to send in pictures, because I really couldn't get any more specific than that. I'm guessing that did the trick, because soon after that, the bird's body was gone. Similarly, there was an incident a week or two ago where two Labradors in Welland got loose and not only attacked a smaller dog, but ripped it in half. Sorry for that image, everyone. These bigger dogs had previously killed or maimed at least two other animals in town, but for some strange reason, they were returned to their owner. And look what happened! What's it going to take for these so-called animal control people in Welland to do their jobs? Will it need a child getting their throat ripped out? If it does, then these people ought to be dragged into the street. Period. The other situation that I ran into, which was a little more prolonged, happened on Myspace. It wouldn't surprise many people to learn that I post in politically charged forums a lot, and as such I'm used to some hostile and ignorant stuff in there. However, the line needs to be drawn somewhere, and I think a good place to start is when, in a debate about immigration, someone says you're supposed to kill invaders, not open your arms to them. Anyone commits treason by employing them, giving them food, treating them medically, yada yada, you get the idea. I've seen dozens, if not hundreds, of posts like that crap in the last few months, and every time I report it to MySpace's managers, like I'm supposed to. Now, I know full well that there are hundreds of millions of people using MySpace, with God only knows how many pages being used, so I know it's physically impossible to just monitor every page 24/7. However, it's not too much to ask that if problems are reported, something be done about them. That's not just an expectation, it's one of their own rules. Yet, all too often, MySpace claims that no matter how often I send them the link and usernames of the offenders in question, they can't find those users or see anything wrong. Give me a break. Leaving aside that I do everything short of physically pointing the managers to the hate speech in question, I also send them screenshots. Furthermore, at least once I've been told that using racist and threatening language is perfectly fine on a social networking site, except that in their own terms and conditions, it states clearly that racist, bigoted, hateful, and threatening material is prohibited. I send that their way, but haven't heard much back. Honestly, this appalls me so much that I've come very close to leaving MySpace over it. What's the point of claiming to provide a safe and peaceful environment to customers, and then claiming that there are rules against attacking each other when you have no inclination at all to enforce them? In any just society, if a cop or doctor kicked back while this sort of shit was hitting the fan, they'd be fired, and maybe more. I know that if I, as a crossing guard, sat back and let kids be run over, I'd be fired and probably sued. Or would I? After all, if the cops are really sitting back a lot of the time, maybe no one really cares anymore. Enough said.